The Xbox news just constantly flows. Now we're starting to see a whole new talking point for the Xbox leadership and the executives there, the new executives. They have a major interview with Windows Central's Jez Corden, who I think is a great reporter. So they go into a lot more detail of what they expect to see from the future of Xbox and a whole other things of why they're trying to change everything that's been happening for the last 15 years. Not to mention, we have Xbox coming out and kind of going back to the old school of things, talking to a couple of people that are no longer at the company, but are bringing them in for consultation. You're going to see a lot of new things. And yeah, there's a lot of people coming up saying that Xbox is going to die, but then there's also people coming in saying that Xbox is trying to really revitalize the brand and make it into something that the core Xbox gamer can be proud of again. And I have to say, I'm not drinking any of the Kool-Aid. I'm coming from this from an objective reality, and I want to see everybody succeed in the places that they are. But right now, with the way the games industry is, maybe this change is actually good for Xbox, and maybe the change that needs to happen will happen. But you never know. So let's get into the interview and let's get into everything that was said. There's a lot to talk about, and let me tell you, we're going to break all of it down. Let's do this. All right, so you know the drill. If you want to be up to date on all the gaming news and you like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps out the channel more than you know. So there's a lot to cover here in this article. Jez Corden did a great job kind of gathering up the first interview for these Xbox executives. Asha coming in and Matt Booty talking about what they want to do with Xbox and where they're seeing things. And to be quite honest, they didn't go into detail with a lot of the decision making going on right now. What they did is kind of give everybody an update of like, hey, this is what we're going to aim to do for the next several years. And of course, it's the first interview. You're not going to get Jez throwing these hardball questions, but I have to say, he did a pretty good job actually getting some information. So let's just jump right into it. On the return to Xbox and a commitment to Xbox hardware. In her open letter, Asha Sharma said she wanted to bring about a return to Xbox. I asked exactly what that means, since it effectively implies that Xbox has begun to stray from what Xbox is. Sharma volunteered an emphasis on Xbox's core and specifically its beleaguered console platform, which has seen a few fiscal of near constant decline. This is what she said. For me, the spirit of return to Xbox is about returning to the spirit that the team was founded on, Sharma explains. It's that spirit of surprise. It's the spirit of building something nobody else was willing to try. I've heard Renegade, Rebellion, and Fun use. That's what I was thinking about when I wrote that. Sharma acknowledged the investment Xbox fans and customers have poured into the ecosystem over the years and seemed genuinely keen to emphasize her commitment to console hardware. I think that our core Xbox fans and players have invested up to 25 years of themselves in these universes and our console. I want to make sure everybody knows I'm committed to Xbox, starting with the console. We're going to keep meeting players where they are. The world continues to evolve and change. We're going to make sure Xbox is a great place for developers and players. We want to invest in reducing the artificial divide between different types of devices that they want to use with us. I think that's going to mean a lot more investment in breaking down the barriers, in helping developers build once and show up across different hardware experiences. For me, I believe Xbox starts with its fans and will grow from there. That's what I wanted to signal with the return to Xbox. There's been a ton of speculation about what kind of moves Asha might make. Xbox notoriously ditched any form of exclusivity on its games, shifting units to PlayStation, paying little mind to the criticisms that it reduces the need to actually buy an Xbox. Sharma told me that nothing is off the table when it comes to revising Xbox's strategy, but finalizing the strategy will take time and data parsing. On Xbox's recent strategic decisions, Sharma said the plan's the plan until it's not the plan. Okay. So that was kind of like the first, kind of jump into everything. And I have to say that it does sound like a lot of corpo speak, so to speak. And I do have to say that Xbox has talked about the console several times. Sarah Bond did it. Phil Spencer did it. They always said that they were very committed to the Xbox console. Yet Xbox did miss on a lot of exclusivity. They missed out on a lot of third-party games that would go to PlayStation and not really their platform. They wouldn't really push for exclusivity or certain exclusive things. I mean, does anybody remember the Spider-Man debacle in Avengers where you couldn't play it on the Xbox, it only was on the PlayStation? PlayStation is a petty organization. They want to stomp out the competition. They're not here to play games. They're not here to be cute. They care about the people that are on their ecosystem and keeping people on their ecosystem. And good for them. Is it consumer friendly? No. Is it consumer friendly for the people on PlayStation? Yeah, because that's the only people they care about. And that's one thing that I will say Sharma kind of brings up, is that they want to be very dedicated to the core of Xbox fans. I'm okay with that. Be okay with being selfish towards the core of the people on your platform, because those are the people that got you here. Now, do I think they're going to jump back into exclusivity? I'm not sure, but I also don't think that anything is off the table. I actually believe that. I don't think anything is off the table. I think that they are going to pitch things and make sure that it makes sense from a financial standpoint. And yeah, everybody talks about them pushing AI. Everybody talks about how they're not going to go back on things. I'm not too sure. I think that there's going to be drastic changes to Game Pass. I think there's going to be drastic changes to the console. I think there's going to be drastic changes to the strategy that hasn't been working for 15 years. I think it worked for Phil Spencer at the beginning, where he was being very open-minded, very kind of loose with things, and being, okay, you know what? We're going to be more consumer friendly to get more people attracted to the Xbox. I think that worked for a little bit, but over time, it just kind of diluted what Xbox is as a brand. And Asha kind of brings that up, that right now, she's just learning and needing to learn what is working for the brand and what isn't. Here's what she says. Right now, I need to learn, candidly, about the why of these decisions, what we were optimizing for, and what the data says about the Xbox strategy today. That's the honest answer. I'm looking at lifetime value, not just what happened in a previous moment or in the short-term efficiencies and things like that. The plan's the plan until it's not the plan. Sharma described how her and Matt Booty are currently going on a whirlwind learning tour of all the Xbox's gaming teams, with studio and org visits penned in for Minecraft, Bethesda, Activision, and more. Matt Booty cautioned that players shouldn't expect drastic changes in the near term, though, while emphasizing that the team's plans to re-examine and question everything. Xbox players have thousands of dollars invested in money and time too. It's incredibly important for me to understand that and protect that, Sharma said. I'm committed to returning to Xbox, and that starts with console, that starts with hardware. You will hear more about that soon. We'll have some announcements coming up. You will see us collectively investing here. We also know that there are a lot of players who aren't on console or our hardware, and I want to deliver great games to them too. I need to learn more about what that can look like, what decisions were made, what we need to do going forward, and I want a little bit of time and space to do that. That's actually something that's pretty telling right there. They know that some people are not on the Xbox ecosystem. In fact, a lot of gamers aren't on the Xbox ecosystem. So what does that mean? How do we reach those gamers? They want to provide games for them. Now, the timing of this is actually kind of crazy, because right now there's reports coming out that PlayStation might be pulling back some of their PC releases, like Wolverine is rumored not to even come to PC. Don't take that as fact. I'm just saying there's some rumors out there and some people are suggesting this. Well, I think a reason for that is because of that pettiness I talked about with PlayStation. I think that once Magnus or the new Xbox console comes out and it has Steam on it, PlayStation doesn't want you to play their first-party games on an Xbox console. Could they maybe mitigate that in the back end with code and say, no, it's not going to work on the Magnus? I'm not sure. Maybe they can. But I think Sony kind of saw the strategy of Xbox and how it's diluted their brand, and they're pulling back. They're not trying to get all of their single-player games, that's a big one, single-player games on every device. I think they want the single-player games to sell the consoles and have big, grand, big-budgeted single-player games like God of War, Ghosts of Yotei, Wolverine, all those games that are not meant to go into multiple people's homes because they don't care about the multiplayer aspect of that. They care about the single player aspect and their brand. So I think they're going to pull back on that, and it's going to show, wow, maybe Xbox needs to reiterate or kind of reevaluate what they're going to do with their console exclusives or their exclusives, because they don't have any. So I don't think anything's off the table. I think that they might make multiplayer games out there and put them out on multiple devices, but maybe kind of cater some of these single player games to console or the Xbox ecosystem. Not just console, but the Xbox platform where you can play it on PC, but only on the Xbox platform. I'm not too sure what they're going to do. I think they're evaluating anything. And like they said, it needs to be data driven, AKA it needs to make sense financially. Are we going to make more money with the decisions we're going to make? And if exclusives don't bring that, then they're not going to do it. If exclusives do bring that and it makes the brand a little bit better or makes people come into their ecosystem more, they might do it. That's just wholeheartedly the fact. Now, let's get into this a little bit more because Matt Booty kind of chimed in talking about protecting the Xbox ecosystem and rejecting speculations that Microsoft is gunning for the gaming division. And we made a video about that, about how Xbox might die because that's what Seamus Blackley brought up about Xbox is going to be brought down to prop up AI. So let's see what he has to say. Our studio system is fully built around being first party. We're not built to just be a publisher, Matt Booty explained. It is core to our partnership with the Microsoft platform, being involved in early hardware decisions. All the work we've done to get games like Gears of War running great on new devices like the Xbox Ally and so on. It is embedded within our structure. We're not backing away from that. We're committed to being a first-party games publisher in partnership with our first-party platform team. Now, that is something that I actually kind of want to touch base on because I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. I don't think he's talking about just multiple devices because they want to make everything non-exclusive and go everywhere. What I think he's talking about is really creating an infrastructure of how games are developed, not only on Xbox, but on multiple devices, and then using AI to help developers do that. So they put it on multiple tools internally in the back end that they can sell to other people, aka third-party partnerships that they can sell it to, and then they can make games for Xbox and multiple devices easily. That's what Epic Games does. That's what UE5 does. That's what all of this software does. It helps people create games more efficiently, then they get a kickback on the back end when they sell that game because they used that platform. Xbox wants to get into that because they don't really have any software on the back end that's really kicking ass for them anymore. They want to make sure that they can do that for the developers. This doesn't really affect gamers in say like for a user standpoint, but it affects us in the way they're going to develop games and how other people are. It feels like they're trying to almost compete with Epic or UE5 a little bit more and using Microsoft's AI to do so because UE5 is very profitable. Epic is very profitable. So they probably see that as a market they could tap and get into because it's a software, and Microsoft usually and throughout history has been a pretty good software company until recently. They've had some stumbles, and so I think they have a lot of work to do there. Now let's get into preserving Xbox game studios and rejecting EA creative things. This is what they had to say. The thing about other products that are taking off, they've built really great communities with their audiences. We're the stewards of a lot of communities, and we have been for decades. The thing that makes a community is that you build for that core. What I don't want to do is have any creator at Xbox dilute their focus to chase an emerging community, Sharma explained. If we want to invest in our community, we'll look at how to do that. But it's really important that people stay true to their core when they're building. The thing I've learned about when building platforms over my career, there's kind of two things that really make a great platform. It's the quality of the product that you deliver for the core user, and it's the integrity of the decisions that stand behind it. There's a big community at Xbox, and we'll look at the right way to serve that community. Okay, a lot of corpo speak, great, make good decisions, and the games will speak for themselves. That's really all I can say about that. That's how I feel. Make good games, we'll enjoy them. And the decisions you made to make those good games are obviously the right decisions. Keep doing that and iterate on it or evolve on those. Don't stick to things that don't work. If a game doesn't sell or if a game doesn't do well, look and do a retrospective on why it didn't work and why it's not selling or doing well and why it's not hitting with gamers. That's something I think Xbox has not done in a long time. I don't think they take a step back and look at the mistakes they made with games that didn't sell well. I think they just are like, that game looked good. I don't know what the gaming community is doing. It's almost like what happened with High Guard and other games where they kind of point the finger at like a culture war or something stupid like that within the gamers and put the blame on gamers instead of themselves because they just didn't make a good product. So hopefully they can do that. Hopefully they can kind of look back and see what they're working on and maybe adopt new technology when you do that. Maybe you can look at all the things you've done bad and how can technology and things that you've developed really help you. Well, they bring that up here. Just as a group, game developers are always eager to adopt new technology. When Photoshop showed up, it took about 1 month for it to appear in every game studio on the planet because it was so useful. Matt noted that Xbox's goal is for AI to be additive and supportive rather than disruptive on its teams. What I hear throughout our studios, it is the people, our artists, our coders, the writers, they're doing the creative work. In my experience, anytime there's a new technology, what happens is there a need for more specialists, new specialists. It raises the bar on what the expectations are for the quality of the games. And I have to agree to that. Every time you disrupt a workflow in an industry, it takes a long time for that workflow to adjust to it. It takes a long time for the people to adjust to what you're doing now. So you need more people that understand the technology. You need more better onboarding processes so people know how to use the tool you're providing. It's not supposed to change everything where they just use that tool. It's supposed to be something that's supportive in the tools that you already have. That's the whole point that he's trying to say here. And now, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. Satya really is pushing AI, and it's his big gamble. And with the money loss that's happened in Microsoft and with the money loss that's happening with AI right now, I don't know what's going to happen. There might be some forces in Microsoft that push AI more on the developer because they have to justify the money being spent there. That's my one big gripe, is that I'm not sure if I can trust the higher ups at Microsoft to actually do the right thing for the artists and the core creators within Xbox. That's what I'm worried about. And I think Asha is one of those executives at Microsoft that loves AI and wants to push it, and it's a big bet that she's also put down. That's my only gripe. That's where I'm a little worried. And I know Matt Booty is kind of there to help facilitate a lot of the people that are making games within Xbox, all the developers and the creatives and the studios. But they also said that they're going through and they have all of these meetings with these developers on what they're making. That means, let's look at what you're making. Do we need to reevaluate? Are you getting canceled? Is this game getting canceled? The stuff that you're working on, is it gone? That's what I read it as. They're not going there to be like, hey, great to meet you. I'm sure there's part of that, but it's really to be like, what are you building? Do we think it's going to sell? And if it doesn't, how do we reevaluate? And are you going to get shut down? That's what I'm thinking. Every studio at Xbox right now, every single one is getting their shit together because they are worried about that. They are going to really hone in and try to be like, what is our best idea, or what have we been working on? How can we push this to look awesome? And that's what's going to happen in the next year, I'm going to assume. They're going to go to every studio the next year, the next 8 months to a year, and really look in and hone in on what is going to sell and what looks good. Every studio is going to come and pay the piper, man. That's just what's going to happen. Look at Sony. Look at PlayStation. They just shut down Bluepoint because all the games that they worked on missed a lot of deadlines, and then they got canceled. The God of War one. Sony had a hand in that because of the live service thing. But Bluepoint had a hand in that in not pushing back and being like, let's make something that we're good at. It's a leadership thing. And so we're going to see if this leadership knows how to make good decisions when it comes to studios. Some studios at Xbox do not make great games. Wholeheartedly, that's just what I feel. I've seen some of the games that come out from those studios, and I'm like, this ain't it. I don't think you have the leadership within your studio to make a great game and the vision. So hopefully they're able to do that. But now let's talk about the reveal of the next 25 years. That's also something they brought up. I didn't get a chance to ask everything I wanted to ask. There are so many questions about Xbox's future and its strategy, so many levers that could potentially shift, and so many angles that could potentially warp. I wanted to ask more about Xbox Game Pass and its future in the ecosystem, what role Xbox Cloud Gaming stands to play, and obviously whether or not we'll eventually get a new Banjo-Kazooie. But those questions will have to wait for another time. In closing, I asked Asha Sharma what she would say to Xbox fans who have worries and concerns about the change as we bid farewell to Phil Spencer, who inherited a very different Xbox back in 2014. Phil Spencer is a remarkable human and a remarkable leader. And I think that when he took over in 2014, he changed the culture of Xbox to focus on player-driven and creator-driven decisions. I intend to honor and uphold that. Sharma didn't shy away from the challenge facing Xbox both externally and internally, but volunteered the idea of strengthening Xbox not just for the near term, but for another quarter century. In her words, Sharma said her current goal is proof over promise. We know that the business has gone through some challenges. I'm going to use my expertise and the leaders that have the deep gaming depth around the table to help us grow the business and make sure that we have an incredible next 25 years. I will listen, I will learn, I will communicate what we're seeing and what we're doing. I think from here, the work is proof over promise. Matt and I are in it. Every hour of every day of every night, I am fully in this thing. This team has brought it back before, and I'm here to help us do it again. So, again, that's kind of like a contradictory thing. You really respect Phil. He's done a lot, blah, 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 great leader. But then when you got to go back and do stuff, it's almost as if, hey, what Phil got in the beginning and what he did for about like 5-6 years from there was really great. But for the last 5 years, I feel like we've been going backwards. And so we're going to head back this way. We're going to kind of detour to what Phil was doing. He was great, but we're getting rid of him and we're going to bring somebody else in that is going to make better decisions. That's what I see here. And I get it. The proof is the proof is over promise. And I'm glad because Phil promised a lot of stuff, and there wasn't a lot of proof in that. A lot of developers around the industry are promising a lot of stuff, and there's not a lot of proof in that. I feel like the ones that actually don't talk are the ones that actually show what they have. They're just like, we don't talk, here's the game, everybody loves it, bam, we're done. That's it. It's almost as if like, kind of just stop talking for a little bit, let the game do the talking for you. And that's something that PlayStation does thoroughly. They don't really talk at all. Herman Hulst does here and there, and we all see how he's getting just absolutely destroyed in the games media and across the industry because he does not know what he's doing half the time, it seems like, and he's shutting down studios. So I want to see what happens with Xbox. I want to see what Asha does. I want to see what Matt does, because Matt sounds like he is in it. It's not like Matt Booty before. If you noticed, it kind of felt like Matt Booty went a little bit away for a little while. Like he just kind of got supplanted by Sarah Bond. It was almost like Sarah Bond got propped up. Matt Booty was there, but not really on the stage, not really talking. He just was in the background doing things. Now he's front and center with Asha. It's almost like that's her right-hand guy, that Matt Booty's going to be there, and along with that chief of staff she brought in. I'm not sure where this is going to go, quite honestly. I like what she said. Everybody should, because it's corpo speak. I want to see what happens. I want to see the decisions being made. And so far, you brought in an AI executive to be your chief of staff. There hasn't been really any talks about anything else. And of course, Sony's starting to react right now. And what is Sony doing? They're going back to their traditions, their values that have served them well, aka maybe pulling things off a PC and making it all exclusive on PlayStation. I think Sony sees the tea leaves. I think Sony might be seeing Xbox will want to compete again because these people don't understand the game industry, and all they're thinking is Sony. That's what we're afraid of, is Sony. We're Microsoft. I think there is some naivete in that, and maybe that's good. Maybe the competition is good, but we'll see what happens. I think Xbox makes a lot of money on PlayStation. I think they make a lot of money everywhere else, and they might not want to relinquish that, but you might have to grow your brand and your ecosystem, your camp, so to speak, your Xbox ecosystem. Either way, great interview by Jez. I actually enjoyed it, even though some people made fun of it. Some idiots. Who cares? Just ignore the people that are like that. If you have haters, you're doing something right. That's always what I've said. So good job, Jez. Keep kicking ass, buddy. And so I'm going to look forward to seeing what they do, the decisions, and it's not going to be the talking. This stuff, it's all great. You can report on it. You can talk about it. To me, it's the actions. I want to see what the actions are, who you bring in. And if you look, they brought Larry Erb back. Like, she brought Larry in to talk. The Major, he's back. If you're going back that far to talk to people like him who understood things, and he was really cutthroat, actually. A lot of people don't know that, but he was very competitive, and a lot of people loved him for that. Maybe they are trying to compete with PlayStation. Maybe they are trying to compete with everybody. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Maybe it's too much to, maybe it's too much to chew and they bit off a little bit more than they can chew. We'll see what's going on. But let me know what you think. Let me know what the gamers think. Go down below in the comment section. What do you think about Xbox? Do you like the new way they're going, the way she's speaking? Are you enjoying this so far? Or are you kind of like, I'm a little skeptical, I'm going to wait and learn? Because that's where I'm at. I'm in the wait and see, but I'm more in the wait and see from actions, not words. That's where I'm at. All these words mean nothing to me unless they are acted upon. And so we'll see for the next year and a half. And I'm going to say about 2 to 3 years is what it's going to take. I know that sounds harsh, but everything coming out now is a Phil Spencer decision and a Sarah Bond decision. Unless they make some drastic turns really quickly, all these things are going to be changing in, the long and short term. So let me know what you think down below. And of course, if you liked the video, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Helps out the channel more than you know. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and always kind of post news and have a little discussion with people online. It's a lot of fun on there. And of course, let me know what you're playing. I've been playing a lot of God of War, and I'm talking about the old one, the first one from 2005. I'm playing that. I'm playing the Uncharted games again, and I'm almost done with Black Myth Wukong, enjoying that game. I've been just enjoying a lot of games. And Midnight launches soon, so I'm going to be jumping into that, World of Warcraft. There's a lot of gaming going on, and it's a lot of fun. But let me know what you're playing down below. And that's all for now. And like always, until next time, enjoy your gaming. Later.